Hello and welcome. I'm Millicent Walker. Tonight, the People's Democratic Party calls on INEC Chairman and the Inspector General of Police to resign their positions, claims INEC lacks capacity to conduct the 2019 elections. National Peace Committee presents draft agreements to be signed by political parties ahead of the 2019 general elections. President Buhari rallies leaders of the Lake Chad Basin Commission against renewed onslaught by Boko Haram terrorists following one-day meeting of member countries in Chad. And US President Donald Trump denies working on a Trump Organization real estate project in Moscow after his former lawyer admitted lying to lawmakers about the project.
On business news tonight, Naira weakens to one-year low at the parallel market on concerns over dollar supply shortage amid falling oil prices.
And on sports news tonight, reigning African women's champions, the Super Falcons, to get $10,000, that's 3.6 million naira each if they retain their African Women's Cup of Nations.
The National Executive Council of the People's Democratic Party to the Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission and the Inspector General of Police, asking them to resign ahead of the 2019 general elections. Speaking against the backdrop of recent elections conducted in Ekiti, Osun, Kwara and Bauchi states, the PDP national chairman insisted that the INEC chairman lacks the will and courage to conduct credible elections in 2019. He also accused the police of doing the bidding of the ruling All Progressives Congress during some of the recently conducted elections.
It is the fourth National Executive Committee meeting of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) since the emergence of Atiku Abubakar as the party's presidential candidate in October this year. In their separate remarks, both the President of the Senate and the Governor of Delta State highlight the huge task that is ahead of them, that of wresting political power at the central government from an incumbent political party. And to realize this goal, members here stress the need to intensify grassroots support mobilization.
Our former ministers and all leaders of the party, it is time for us to return home. Not to carry the message of despair, but to carry the message of hope and to mobilize our people to realize that we must stand strong to defend our votes and to deliver Nigeria back on the right course.
It is not easy in a third world country to defeat a ruling government. But it has been done before, and we will do it again.
On the spot, National Chairman of the PDP, Uche Secondus, calls for the immediate resignation of the Chairman of INEC and that of the Inspector General of Police over alleged compromise ahead of the general elections next year.
And therefore we call on the INEC leadership, headed by Professor Yakubu, to quietly resign because he doesn't have the strong will and courage to conduct free and fair election. He should resign. We also call on the Inspector General of Police to resign.
Notwithstanding the resignation calls, however, the presidential candidate of the PDP believes that the party has a good chance in 2019.
I call on President Muhammadu Buhari that I, Atiku Abubakar, I am ready for debate.
With the support, genuine support of all of you, particularly our governors, our members of the National Assembly, our party leaders at the local level, and of course party supporters. If we work together, I am convinced beyond any doubt that this election is for us to win.
The PDP lost powers at the center in 2015 when President Buhari defeated an incumbent President Jonathan. Almost 4 years after that defeat, the party is hoping it will do the same to the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) when both parties will meet again alongside about 70 others at the polls next year.
Who is supposed to address you now is presiding over.
In the meantime, the Minister of Information and Culture, Mr. Lai Mohammed, has asked the U.S. to exercise caution in granting visa to the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. The minister, who was speaking during an interactive session with media executives in Abuja, said this was necessary so the U.S. does not appear to be in favor of one candidate over another in the 2019 election. While admitting that the U.S. has the prerogative of whom to issue visa, it should, however, be mindful of the timing in order not to give the impression that Atiku has been endorsed by the U.S. government. He further stated that the government was aware of an alleged move by the former vice president to lobby the U.S. to lift the visa ban imposed on him. Well, still on political matters, the All Progressives Congress National Peace and Reconciliation Committee for the Northeast has met with aggrieved members of the party in Gombe and Bauchi states in a bid to arbitrate and build peace among them. The meeting, chaired by the governor of Nasarawa State, Tanko Almakura, and held in Bauchi State, is expected to identify aggrieved members on the areas of conflict, prefer solutions acceptable to all, renew commitment, and restore confidence and trust in the party. The committee has 2 weeks to submit its report.
The APC National Peace and Reconciliation Committee, led by Governor Tanko Almakura for the Northeast, arrived in Bauchi State. They're here to listen to the cries of aggrieved members as a step towards reconciliation ahead of the 2019 elections. The committee pays a courtesy visit to the governor of Bauchi State, Mohammed Abubakar, who made his position clear.
If the Almighty decrees that you become, there is no power on earth that can change that. And in saying that, I made a direct call to all the aggrieved members of our party that they should remember that the APC is one big family.
Governor Tanko Almakura moves to the venue of the reconciliation meeting. He sets the ball rolling.
If you have any contempt to court processes or legal processes, we may not go headlong into issues that are already before the court of law. However, we would help and support the court to ensure the possibility of settlement out of court if needs be.
Aggrieved members present their cases one after the other, which is mostly centered on party primaries. Bauchi appears to have more aggrieved members with claims that the primaries were never held.
Told them, in particular, that we are ready for any reconciliation. But that reconciliation must be based on justice. And for justice, what we mean is this party is built on rules and regulations. And until they observe those rules and regulations, there is no way we can accept any reconciliation.
In the issues of governance, what Mr. President is doing is the right thing. If Mr. President has advised the party to do it and the party has done it, that's what gives me the confidence that something will be done.
The chairman encourages them to have confidence in the committee and assures them that their case will be sent to the national leadership of the APC and appropriate measures will be recommended.
Well, staying with the forthcoming general elections, the chairman of the National Peace Committee, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, is appealing to politicians to conduct themselves in a manner that guarantees national peace and security. The former head of state made the remarks at the presentation of the 2018 Peace Accord to political parties and their presidential candidates in Abuja. According to him, some politicians are already parading themselves in a manner that could threaten peaceful elections come 2019.
The chairman of the National Peace Committee, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, and other prominent members of the committee arriving the venue of a meeting with political party chairmen and their presidential candidates ahead of the 2019 general elections. The purpose of this meeting is to present a draft copy of the 2018 Peace Accord to the political parties and their candidates for inputs before the signing on December the 11th this year. The committee believes that there is an urgent need for political parties and their candidates to sign a peace accord, especially as campaign begins in earnest.
We have observed in some areas there are certain members of your political parties, the way they parade themselves certainly we think is unbecoming and might breach the peace.
Abuja Accord 2018.
Presenting the draft copy of the peace accord, Bishop Matthew Kuka highlights some key areas of the document, which include the need for political parties to ensure that their campaigns are devoid of abuses and inciting statements.
We have resolved to adopt the same principles that guided the very successful 2015 elections and therefore commit ourselves to the following. 1. To run issue-based campaigns at national, state, and local government levels. In this, we pledge to refrain from campaigns that will involve religious incitement, ethnic or tribal profiling, both by ourselves and by all agents acting in our names.
Having listened to the presentation of the draft copy, leaders of political parties made their inputs, with some stressing the need for non-political organizations, such as the police and religious houses, to desist from instigating violence during the elections.
Part of what I've raised is that they should consider the security agencies, their roles, their function, and their own bias expected of them. Because as it is now, Nigerians have no confidence in some of the security agencies.
We have heard your request.
The National Peace Committee also facilitated a similar peace accord among political parties in the build-up to the 2015 general election. Members are hoping that when this document, which is an agreement for a peaceful 2019 general election, is signed in December, it will impress on the minds of politicians the urgent need to ensure that polls are free, fair and peaceful.
President Muhammadu Buhari has made a renewed call to arms as he rallies his colleagues from Chad, Niger Republic and Cameroon for a fresh onslaught against insurgents, particularly the Boko Haram group. The president was speaking today in N'Djamena, the capital of Chad, on Thursday, where he held a one-day consultation with heads of state and government of the Lake Chad Basin Commission, LCBC. According to a statement from the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, the meeting was called to address the recent upsurge in terrorist activities in the region. The statement quotes President Buhari as saying, "We must not relent and allow the enemies of the region to succeed in their quest to destabilize the area. We must reinvigorate our collective will and commitment towards eradicating terrorism from our region. We must remain focused and true to ensuring sustainable development. To this end, I have requested that bilateral and multilateral platforms of engagement by member countries affected by the conflict be revamped to ensure collective actions towards stamping out the remnant of the terrorists from the region." End of quote. While commending the efforts of the leadership of the LCBC and the Multinational Joint Task Force, MNJTF, President Buhari also noted that the efforts of those who strive to bring peace and stability to the region would never be forgotten. He also asked the president and heads of government in attendance to make concerted efforts towards ensuring the actualization of efforts to recharging the lake through inter-basin water transfer from the Congo Basin. In part two, after the break, House of Representatives Committee summons Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi over allegations of breach of process. Please stay with us.